Welcome to tonight's TEDx Talk. My name is Frida Enström, and I will be your host for the evening. This event will be filled with TEDx Talks, exciting entertainment, and a quiz where you get a chance to win a prize of around 1,300 Swedish crowns. And everything revolves around the theme, Dare to be Creative. At the end of the evening, you'll be able to mingle with our speakers on a Zoom meeting and ask questions. So let's get this event started.
Welcome to something special. Welcome to...
Okay, and now we're gonna watch an intro video.
Welcome to something special. Welcome to TEDx. This TEDx event is part of a global conversation that takes place every day in every corner of the world. In schools, in theaters, in workplaces, even in prisons, people gather to hear the best ideas bubbling up in their communities. More than 3,000 TEDx events are held every year in 170 countries. It's a remarkable thing. TEDx events are self-organized under a license from TED, a non-profit organization devoted to discovering and sharing powerful ideas in the form of TED Talks. It's not TED itself, but your local TEDx team of volunteers that has done all the work to put on today's event, including booking all of the speakers. It's this team's ideas, dedication, and time that have made this possible. We really hope today's program sparks an exciting conversation. This is a day for curiosity and for skepticism, for inspiration and for action. The more you enter into it, the more you will take out. And now, on with the show.
So, I hope you're all as comfortable as our friends in the video. And now, it's time for our first speaker, Fredrik van Høyen, one of Sweden's top entrepreneurs and a firm believer in remote work. Let's see.
I always wanted to be a martial artist and an entrepreneur when I grew up. I wanted to learn how to surf, I wanted to learn foreign languages, and I wanted to really travel the world. I grew up in a small town in Sweden called Gnosjö, very, very small place. And my parents, they immigrated from Cambodia, escaping the genocide to Sweden. They worked in a manufacturing company where they were producing a lot of metal and things. It was very, very hard work. So whenever I grew up, I said to myself, I never wanted to do that. I wanted to achieve real success. And for me, success was wearing a nice watch, wearing nice shoes, wearing a nice suit, and live in a big city where you're working in an office like Stockholm, London, or Shanghai. So when I graduated from university, I was thinking to myself, I need to move to a big city. I need to move to a big city. I need to be getting myself a good job and an office and I need to be achieving real success. But I also thought to myself, what if I could create a company where I could work from anywhere I wanted and still see the world at the same time? Would that be possible? During my time at university, I had the opportunity to live and study in Japan. Absolutely loved it. I had 3 classmates that were from the US. One day were asking me if I could help them with summer internships in China, because they knew that I had studied and lived in Shanghai the year before. I said, of course, because when I was living in Shanghai, a city which I loved, I met a lot of interns that had opportunity to intern at Heineken and the Beijing Olympics. So I matched my classmates with these companies, and I thought they were going to have a blast that summer. A few months later, I was checking in with my friends, and I found out that they didn't have such a good time in China. They were having a lot of issues finding accommodation, making friends, and really acclimating in the culture in the city. So fast forward about a year, I had graduated. I didn't think much more about that. I was living in Bangkok, Thailand, and I wanted to live life. It was a Friday evening, I was sitting in the terrace, and I came to think of the idea that I wanted to work remotely and pursue martial arts and learn foreign languages and potentially creating a company where I could work from anywhere I wanted. But I needed a business idea and I needed a business plan. So I was thinking about my 3 classmates in Japan, and that night, again, I was sitting on my terrace, I was Googling summer internships. And this company popped up charging $10,000 to intern for 2 months in New York City. And I was thinking, why would anyone pay $10,000 to intern in New York City for 2 months? It turned out that most of their customers and their students were from the US. And each summer they had about 200 students. And I was thinking, well, we might have a business idea here, because it's so much cheaper to do that than to intern in China. And who would not want to come to China and build your career? But I needed a business plan. So that night, I asked my partner in crime, I need a business plan, can you help me? She had worked for large corporations and she knew what business was all about. Together, we had $2,000 in savings, and we said, you know what? Let's use that money to incorporate the company. And we found a Swedish web developer on a forum online, and we were in business. One day, one of my Swedish friends, they came to visit me in London, and we had lunch in a Peruvian restaurant. And she told me, Frederick, you commute 3 hours per day, 1.5 to go, 1.5 to go back each day. And I made the math. You're basically losing a day per week in your life. And that, I never saw it that way, I told her. And it made me realize that, wow, what am I doing here? I'm working really hard to build my company, but I never went into martial arts. I never learned another language. I never tried surfing. I was stuck here building my company because I thought that's what success was all about. That night, I told my partner in crime in London that we can't continue to live like this. We basically lost 52 days in our lives living here. It was time to change it, because for the last 6 years, we spent one Christmas together with our families. We missed all birthdays, all the funerals, and all the other holidays with our families, sacrificing everything to build our company and make it very, very successful. And it was time to change it, but not yet. That same month, we were welcoming one of our most important university partners in Shanghai. So I flew to Shanghai and I met with her, and we had some delicious dumplings in Shanghai. We toured around the city, showed her around, and visited our office premises as well. And on our last day, we're having lunch again before saying goodbye to each other. She told me, Frederick, I don't think you guys need such an expensive office address here in Shanghai. As long as you have internet connection, you know the city already inside and out. You already know the culture inside and out. As long as you have internet connection and a computer, you can do your job from anywhere. And that hit me right in the heart. Because if one of our most important customers said to me and my partner in crime that we could work from anywhere in the world, why couldn't we? So that night, I went back to my old friend Google and I searched best place to live in Europe. And Barcelona showed up consistently in many lists as a great place to live and work. So I love Barcelona and we love Barcelona. It had a very cool vibe, great international community. It had the sea and had the mountain, and it was very close to our families. So we decided to move to Barcelona. We arrived in Barcelona a few weeks later. We're offering something, we're trying to find an apartment, and I enrolled in the Spanish language course. I didn't speak Spanish, so it was a great opportunity to pick up a new language because after all, that's what I wanted to do when I grew up, learn new foreign languages. And for the first time, for a very long time, I could taste freedom. The company grew even bigger and we got more team members and more customers, and then the pandemic happened. And for the first time for over 10 years, I was living in the same city for over 3 months. All my business travels were canceled, and suddenly it was fine and acceptable to conduct business and attend conferences on Zoom. There's this study made by Deloitte showing that 35% of employees in the US, China, Italy, and Spain will work remotely post the pandemic. Google, Twitter, Microsoft, and Amazon have announced permanent work from home policies. 72% of 3,600 Deloitte executives identified the ability of their people to adapt, reskill, and assume new roles as what's most needed to navigate the future. Students were once measured by their IQ, intelligent quotient, and then came emotional quotient, and now it's all about adaptability quotient. So how do you get that as a young person? Intern remotely as a high school student or a university student. Intern for a few hours per week, because when you're young, you don't have money, but you do have time. So use that time wisely. Intern remotely for a company. You're gonna build a lot of skills, forge relationships, enhance your CV, open a few new doors that you didn't know existed. But above all, you're gonna build your adaptability skills and enhance your adaptability quotient. Write an unsolicited application to a company today. The worst thing that you're gonna get is a no. You're gonna be surprised on how many companies out there and people out there that wanna give back to the future generation. You never know what type of doors will open by you sending your application today. You don't need money now, you need skills and experiences. So what will it give you by working remotely? Well, you will be able to travel and work from anywhere you want, having a little bit more time to pursue your hobbies or personal interests. Success shouldn't be defined by anyone else but yourself. Figure out what success means to you, and then work yourself towards that each day. For me, I've finally been able to build an organization where I can work from anywhere in the world, but also our team members. We've downsized our office in Barcelona, so anyone can come to the office or work from anywhere in the world. The choice is theirs. For me, I've been able to finally try surfing in Brazil, pursue my passion for martial arts and learn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, take up an 8th language and learn Spanish, but above all, spend more quality time with my family and not miss any more Christmases. For some of us, we're very lucky and fortunate to grow up in a country like Sweden. We have the opportunity to choose how we're spending our lives and our careers. But I want to challenge you guys today. Stop for a moment and reflect on how you're spending your time each day. Imagine your 80-year-old self meeting your 16 or 25-year-old self, what advice would you give yourself? Because how you spend your time is how you live your life, and time is the only currency we cannot buy. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Fredrik, for speaking at our event. And as a thank you, we've donated a gift in your name to Läkarmissionen for the cause of preventing the spread of the coronavirus for those most vulnerable. Moving along to some entertainment, Arcadia is an expert in the field of illusions, and he has chosen to help us with this production by submitting a few sketches with other things. Now we're going to watch the first of them.
Here's a challenge for you. Take a large spoon, put it in your mouth, and try to turn it around without opening your mouth. It's harder than it looks. And if you want to make it even harder, all you have to do is not using your hands. Let me show you. But if you find that difficult, you can always cheat by using a fork instead.
Now, it's time for Lecco to perform. They're a young French artist, singer, and author. Enjoy!
Salut à toi la Suède, je me présente Lecco, originaire de France, et je suis venu ici pour vous séduire, accompagné de DJ Black Mook. Lecco des Lecco. Je sais, oui je sais. Je sais, oui je sais. Je sais, oui, la vie peut nous blesser, mais on peut toujours reprendre à zéro. Pourtant, pour certaines personnes, on aurait tout fait, mais quand c'est fini, te laisse pas contrôler par ton ego. Dans l'histoire, la répartition du problème est égale. Tu te souviens quand je voulais tout sauver, tu m'as dit ça m'est égal. Tu m'en as fait voir de toutes les couleurs, et sur nos joues, des larmes ont coulé. Tu aurais imaginé l'ampleur des actes quand deux personnes veulent s'aimer. Alors parfois quand on se quitte c'est mieux, même si à la base on se disait l'amour de sa vie c'est moi. Mais le temps est passé, on se connaît de mieux en mieux. Mais bizarrement l'impression de t'aimer de moins en moins. Mais bizarrement l'impression de t'aimer de moins en moins. Je sais plus par où commencer, mes problèmes, mes envies, mes pensées. Toi dis-moi de ton parcours, qu'est-ce que tu en penses? As-tu beaucoup d'impasse depuis le début de ton existence? Je sais plus par où commencer, mes problèmes, mes envies, mes pensées. Toi dis-moi de ton parcours, qu'est-ce que tu en penses? As-tu beaucoup d'impasse depuis le début de ton existence? On dit souvent que les détails font la différence. Donc si tu ne soutiens pas maintenant, pourquoi tu le ferais demain? Mais pourquoi es-tu encore là, je me le demande. Mais m'as-tu vraiment tout dit, dis-moi? J'ai perdu mon billet de banque qui a volé mes 10 balles. Le jour où j'ai des thunes à la demande, j'achète des chaussures et minimum 10 marques. Et si un jour je fais un concert en France, je veux que ce soit le 10 mars. Mais si tu m'as pas tout dit, dis-moi, je veux pas connaître des pires crimes au milieu de l'histoire. Parce que parfois je vois que t'es pensif, j'aimerais rentrer dans tes pensées. Je voudrais pouvoir soigner tes blessures, je voudrais être ton pansement. Est-ce que toi et moi c'est un rêve, vas-y pince-moi. Est-ce que toi et moi c'est un rêve, vas-y pince-moi. Je sais plus par où commencer, mes problèmes, mes envies, mes pensées. Toi dis-moi de ton parcours, qu'est-ce que tu en penses? As-tu beaucoup d'impasse depuis le début de ton existence? Je sais plus par où commencer, mes problèmes, mes envies, mes pensées. Toi dis-moi de ton parcours, qu'est-ce que tu en penses? As-tu beaucoup d'impasse depuis le début de ton existence? Moi aussi parfois quand j'y pense, la mort me fait peur. Et je voulais vous en faire part. Parfois elle en a même une odeur, j'en connais qui ont reçu leur faire part. Pas marrant quand y penses, les réponses sont absentes. Ces moments de doute, t'y repenses. Mais quand est-ce que ton cerveau se repose? Tu voudrais vivre en paix et faire les grands pas. On se demande si c'est vrai ou pas. Parce que là je suis au point où je comprends plus rien. Je vois que l'amour se fait rare, arrête-moi si je fais erreur. On est loin du monde féerique. On est loin du monde féerique. Retrouvez l'album Imagine sur toutes les plateformes de streaming et téléchargement. L'écho des l'écho. Je me réveille, faire en sorte que cette journée ne soit pas la même. J'ai prié, prié toute la nuit pour que ce soit plus la merde. Ce matin, je regarde les infos et c'est toujours la même. Je me réveille, faire en sorte que cette journée ne soit pas la même. J'ai prié, prié toute la nuit pour que ce soit plus la merde. Ce matin, je regarde les infos et c'est toujours la même. Ouais, c'est toujours la même. Ouais, c'est toujours la même. Problématique, c'est un jour je fais mon auto-analyse. Je regarde le monde qui agonise. J'écris mon récit, j'ai peur quand je me dis que je ne sais pas réellement qui je suis. Ma soeur m'a dit vis la vie, parce qu'on ne sait pas d'où l'on vient. Réellement ce que chacun veut, c'est inévitable autour de nous. Les jaloux, les envieux, qui regardent la vie des autres et qui les envient. Alors j'avoue que parfois j'ai la haine quand je vois que certains permis, ils préfèrent rejeter la faute. Ils cherchent leur bonheur en regardant celui des autres. J'avoue que j'ai aussi commis la faute. J'ai cherché mon bonheur en regardant celui des autres. J'avoue que j'ai aussi commis la faute. J'ai cherché mon bonheur en regardant celui des autres. Je me réveille, faire en sorte que cette journée ne soit pas la même. J'ai prié, prié toute la nuit pour que ce soit plus la merde. Ce matin je regarde les infos et c'est toujours la même. Je me réveille, faire en sorte que cette journée ne soit pas la même. J'ai prié, prié toute la nuit pour que ce soit plus la merde. Ce matin je regarde les infos et c'est toujours la même. Ouais, c'est toujours la même. Ouais, c'est toujours la même. Tu voudrais savoir pourquoi t'es venu sur terre. Cette satanée question qui te pèse. Donnez-moi la réponse que je m'apaise. C'est 21 grammes que mon âme pèse. Tu me payes un tour d'élastique ou de trapèze. Aujourd'hui j'ai pas mis de salopette. Dans mes textes toujours pas de saloperie. Je dirais que c'est une salopette. J'ai encore beaucoup de choses à dire. Donc je voudrais trouver l'inspi, tu sais celle qui t'inspire. Je voudrais trouver les mots parfaits, oui la musique parfaite. Ce soir je suis sorti écrire sur le frigo. Je t'ai laissé des mémos. S'il te plaît n'oublie pas de m'aimer. S'il te plaît n'oublie pas de m'aimer. Ce soir je suis sorti écrire sur le frigo. Je t'ai laissé des mémos. S'il te plaît n'oublie pas de m'aimer. Je me réveille, faire en sorte que cette journée ne soit pas la même. J'ai prié, prié toute la nuit pour que ce soit plus la merde. Ce matin je regarde les infos et c'est toujours la même. Je me réveille, faire en sorte que cette journée ne soit pas la même. J'ai prié, prié toute la nuit pour que ce soit plus la merde. Ce matin je regarde les infos et c'est toujours la même. Ouais, c'est toujours la même. Ouais, c'est toujours la même. Parfois on tombe et on se relève, c'est la vie d'Aloca. Désormais je veux m'améliorer, ouais c'est l'occasion. Regarde-nous aujourd'hui, on a grandi, on a appris. Mais notre progrès, ouais on le verra après. Car après tout, on fera la même chose pour nos enfants. On se plongera dans nos souvenirs d'enfance. On se rappellera notre insouciance quand on voit qu'aujourd'hui on a que des soucis et que ça nous rend soucieux. Mais je sais à quel point parfois le temps peut paraître si lent et le point d'arrivée peut paraître si loin. Mais on avance et on avance, on ne reculera pas. Et prudence, prudence, les corbeaux volent autour de moi. Et on avance et on avance, on ne reculera pas. Et prudence, prudence, les corbeaux volent autour de moi. L'écho des l'écho, c'est l'intro. Ça c'est pour vous, ça c'est cadeau.
We apologize for the sound. We are going to stop the stream for 1 minute to try to fix the problem. Stay put and we'll be right back. Welcome back. Now it's time for our next speaker, Sudiksha Lingareddy, who describes herself as an Asian American student, will share her experience with colorism. Let's learn more together.
Let me ask you a question. What skin shade do you prefer? If you had an answer to that question, you could simply be the problem. When I was a young girl, I was told that the sun was my enemy. I was told that I didn't wash effectively because soap was supposedly going to remove my dark skin color away. When I was in kindergarten, I was the only dark skin in the room, not the only Indian in the room, but the only dark skin in the room. This made me feel as if I shouldn't answer any questions, if I should be chosen last, if I should hide my arms and legs, because I needed to be lighter to be noticed. I would hide inside during recess because the sun would make me darker, because I was told dark was ugly, light was pretty. One day, we were supposed to do this fun activity in class where we had to draw everybody in our classroom. I drew myself way too many shades lighter just to not be noticed as dark. But as I looked around the classroom, I could easily spot myself, the dark brown girl. The activity was not fun for me. One day in swim class, this guy asked me, who was the same age as me, why I was so dark, because all he knew were light-skinned Indians. When I first visited India, I wasn't greeted with, "How are you?" But how the heck did you become so dark? When I had the courage to speak up and say that I think my skin's fine, I was shut down with, "You shouldn't disrespect your elders." Last month, I was having a conversation with my own friends who were sending pictures of girls and commenting on their skin color. They were saying how dark skins can never be pretty and justifying that by saying it was their preference. When I asked them why a preference was necessary, they replied with, and I quote, "Dark skins don't get me hard, that's why." Maybe I was being oversensitive during kindergarten. Maybe I overthought that fun activity. Maybe the kid in swim class wasn't actually trying to hurt me. That's what we get told if we talk about colorism, but no one asks, why do you feel that way? In every Bollywood movie that I watch, the mom, the dad, the cool grandma, the rebel daughter, the millionaire son are all very fair-skinned, while the maid or the villain, they're very dark-skinned. A$AP Rocky said that only fair-skinned women can pull off red lipstick, and black women are too sentimental when they're ridiculed about their looks. Young boys and girls like me can easily get brainwashed into thinking what the rest of society says. Light skin, desirable. Dark skin, undesirable. There's no one there to tell these young kids that their skin color is beautiful. But you know the hypocritical part of this though? Is that the people that told me my skin was ugly were actually dark skinned themselves. I know what you're thinking, a dark skin bringing down another dark skin? However, it's just a cycle. Dark skins were taught to hate their skin color and pass the hate onto other dark skins, while actually, we should strive to break this cycle. Before we strive to fix racism where all races are equal, colorism needs to be fixed. How are you going to strive to fix racism when your own race bashes the darker skinned ones within your own community? And preference. The lame excuse as to why they like a certain skin color more. Ask anybody why they have a preference. No valid answer, because it shouldn't be a preference. When you're willing to give every skin color a chance, there is no preference needed. Facial features, face structure, personality, yes, that's our preference, not skin. Skin shouldn't and isn't a preference. It's preference to you because it was socially constructed by generations. Take, for example, the Willie Lynch letters, a speech written by a slave owner to other slave owners. He said, "I have a foolproof method into trying to control black slaves and turn them against each other for the next 300 years at least." One of his methods was to keep the lighter-skinned slaves in the house and gave them some education, while the darker-skinned slaves always had to work in the fields and got no education. I think his methods worked tremendously into dividing people within their own community based on beauty standards. We have literally been brainwashed since the times of slavery. You know what's crazy though? 99% of my family, friends, or mutuals have a preference on skin color. They say it's just what they like. They say they can't control it. But I really want to get to the bottom of this. So I concluded that the sole problem is that people don't recognize having a preference on a skin color is the problem. The problem is that they have an opinion on which skin shade is better. I know it sounds like I'm stripping them out of their freedom of opinion, but let's go deeper. Conformity. Conformity is the adherence to group norms by group members, in this case following the crowd, by choosing the wrong answer. There's huge negative consequences to this, right? Like smoking or drinking. People conform because they want to be liked, they want to be right, or they want to feel as some sort of group. Conformity is so immense that it is proven to be more powerful than obeying authority. But you know what's better though? Non-conformity, violating the norm, and being the disturbance to the system. But let me ask you one more question. Why? Not what skin shade do you prefer, but why? If your answer to the question, what skin shade do you prefer, is anything except I do not have a preference, then ask yourself why, because you could just be believing what society has made up for you from generations. You could be conforming. And you can make lame excuses as to why you like a certain skin shade better, but if you don't understand the problem of this question, you could simply be the problem. Don't worry though, you're not the only one. The majority of the population does. It's really hard having an opinion for ourselves. If there is a clear majority, it's very easy just to conform with them. However, when you realize that the majority opinion is not always the right opinion, then you can start thinking for yourselves. You don't have to be dark-skinned to realize that colorism exists in the world today. However, if you follow in the footsteps of generations behind, you are only holding back the better future that this world can achieve.
Just be yourself. That's what they keep on saying. But how do they want me to be me? As soon as I express a side of me that doesn't fit to what the society want me to be, I get mocked or neglected. They want me to be me, but why do I feel like those words are empty? Just be yourself. But as soon that a part of my soul shine, the shadow of this world find a way to turn it down. I am only searching for a place I can call home, a place where I belong, longing to feel my heart arise. I want to shine without limit, dive and enjoy it, 'cause this life, my life, I will own it. But the truth resides inside, so I close my eyes and write. Just be yourself, they say. Trying to do yourself. Trying to be what they say. Getting about it's hard to be who I am. Just be yourself, they say. How should I know who I am when everything, everyone take of yourself. Don't you miss yourself? Look into the thing you do. Are you worth it? I think you're worth it. So find it. Find your peace and be yourself.
Thank you, Sidiksha, for speaking at our event. And as a thank you, we have given a donation in your name to Amnesty International, because all of us are born free and equal in dignity and rights. And thank you, Megan. It was beautiful and interesting to hear about your music. But now it's time for a competition, and we want you to participate. You will need a device, and at the end we select 3 random winners. We will use www.menti.com, and this will be the first of 3 parts of our quiz. Keep a close look at your device. There will be a small delay on YouTube, so go to menti.com and enter 24 48 11 38. Get your devices ready, and let's go. We will take a new break to try to fix the problem, but we will be back soon.
Welcome to something special. Welcome to TEDx. This TEDx event is part of a global conversation that takes place every day in every corner of the world. In schools, in theatres, in workplaces, even in prisons. people gather to hear the best ideas bubbling up in their communities. More than 3,000 TEDx events are held every year in 170 countries. It's a remarkable thing. TEDx events are self-organized under a license from TED, a non-profit organization devoted to discovering and sharing powerful ideas in the form of
Welcome back. Now is the first part of the quiz over, and we make space for some entertainment. If you need to take a short break, now is the time, but remember to bring your devices.
Nästa låt heter Motvind. Ja, Petter?
Precis, jag ville ju heta så ett tag. Men det gick inte, det var upptaget. Och det säger ju lite grann om hur det är i livet för oss alla just nu. Motvind bara. Det är bara skit, mörker, ond, bråd död. Och den här låten handlar väl lite grann just om det. Och sen att kanske ta sig igenom det. Det är samma tema där. Efter regn kommer solsken. Precis. Så här låter den.
jag drivet. Nu har jag mera koll, men priset jag
betalat högt om någonting. Och 30 år som dalat gav mig ingenting. Jag lovar ännu en gång till att jag ska fortsätta försöka. Jag vill aldrig mera se dig, för du vill mig aldrig väl. Jag kan aldrig helt bli kvitt dig. Du är det svarta i min själ. Det svarta i min själ.
Thank you, Drivet, for all the good vibes. Once again, it's quiz time. So take up your devices and continue the quiz. There are now 3 more questions who will be asked, so good luck. I hope you did well on the quiz. And if not, I hope you learned something new. Otherwise, you will learn something now. I present to you Ulvia Arskasade, who will share some experience of her own from some important lessons. But first, Arcadia.
You know what it is? It's the life. Such events are likely to happen to all of us. We have all had ups and downs in our lives. I have also experienced the same thing at school, at university, throughout my career. So I want to tell you some of my stories. It's not like that in Sweden, but in some countries, also in my country, it's really important to study at university and to have a profession. I grew up in a small district, which is 2 hours far from the capital, and my parents always wanted me to be a doctor from my childhood. I didn't think too much when I was a kid, but I just agreed I will be a doctor. And preparations for the university start last 2 years of school. First, you decide what you want to be, what you want to study. Then you get private lessons from teachers. It takes 1 or 2 years to prepare for the university. 2 years without a break is just education and preparation period. You don't know what's happening in the world. I'm not even talking about spending time on your hobbies. So I have experienced exactly the same things, and the day is coming I will take an exam. So we come to capital with my mom, and everyone's eyes are on me for months and years. It's the day to change your life. It's the day to prove yourself. Everyone wants good results, good news from you, and you feel excitement, panic, fear, all negative feelings at the same time. But exam is over. I go out and my mom is waiting for me outside, and then she asks, "How was it? How did it go?" And I answered, "It was okay." I wasn't sure actually it's okay or not. I just answered. And the same night, the same evening, we get the results. We weren't so happy actually with this. And I get accepted to the second largest city in Azerbaijan, like at university there, I mean. But my family wanted me to study in capital, so we decided that I will not go there. I was feeling it's end of everything. What I am gonna do now? Nothing. I will just stay 1 year again, and I will wait for the next exam, next year I mean. I will take another exam. I was so sad. I was feeling like it's the biggest failure in my life. And but there was nothing to do. I stayed 1 year again, and I changed my way. I decided that I don't want to be a doctor, and I took another exam next year, and I got really good result, and I got accepted to a good university. So I changed my failure to a success. Maybe it was really worst one, but I made really good result. And then I moved to capital. I started university. Time passed, years passed, and I have graduated from the university. I started to work. Then I started to feel that I want something new. I want to experience something different, like something international. I started to apply to other countries, to go abroad and experience something new, to work as volunteer or intern. But of course it didn't work. But I didn't give up. I just continued to apply. And then my friend sent me an opportunity in Sweden. Sent me a message that there is an opportunity in Sweden to work as volunteer. Actually, Sweden is my dream country. I don't know why. From my childhood, I like this country. I saw this opportunity. I applied, but my hope was zero that I will not go there. No way. And after 10 days, I got an email. I'm going to Sweden. It was really, really good news for me. And I believed that actually failures brought success to me. If something does not happen, it means there is something better for you. But just try. Just do not give up. Why I told you these two stories? Maybe every time we encounter obstacles, maybe big or small, but the main thing, we don't need to give up. We need to stand up and try to do our best to reach our goals or dreams. Failure is the word no one likes. I don't like to. But the main thing we need to do, we have to learn from our mistakes and we need to be better version of us for the next time. I want to give you an example from an experiment. During a research experiment, a marine biologist placed a shark into a large holding tank and then released smaller fish into the tank. As you would expect, shark quickly swam around into the tank, attacked and ate smaller fish. Then the marine biologist inserted a strong piece of fiberglass, clear fiberglass, into the tank and separated two partitions. Then he put a shark on the one side, smaller fish on the other side. Of course, shark quickly attacked, but shark slammed into the fiberglass and bounced off. Shark kept repeating this behavior, but it didn't work. And then shark gave up. This experiment was repeated several times over the next weeks. Every time a shark got less aggressive and made fewer attempts to attack to the fish. And then shark stopped attacking. And after that, the marine biologist removed the fiberglass divider from the tank and shark didn't attack to the fish. Shark was trained that there is always barrier existed between it and fish. So fish was swimming around free from harm, but shark did not do anything. What we learned from this experiment? First, we need to learn from our past experience. What happened once to us doesn't mean that it's gonna happen again. We just need to take a new approach. We need to use our knowledge that we gain from our past experience. Then we need to try, do our best. It will work. I think if you want to do something, if you want to reach your goals, aims, you need to do 4 things. First, believe in yourself. In my country, we say half of doing is believing that you can. If you believe in yourself that you can, then you are halfway there. Second, expand your vision, your skills, knowledge. Where you are right now, that's you. If you want something different, then improve you. Work on yourself, not on your job. You need to spend approximately 20% of your energy on your job, but 80% of your energy to your self-improvement. The third one is smile. Smiling and motivation is an important part. Be happy. Try to wear a smile, not because life is full of reason to be happy, because your smile is the reason for others to be happy. The fourth one is take a step. Try, and try again. Even if game is over, try again. Maybe you will fall down, but don't give up. Try to do your best until you reach the result you want. Life is full of hope stories, from failure to success. Every failure is actually a small bump on our way to success. Even if it trails a bit, it makes us to know the road and makes us stronger. If you want to reach your dreams, if you need a solution, then do your best.
Thank you, Ilvia, for your speech. And as a thank you, we have donated to Rädda Barnen in your name, because all children deserves a safe childhood. But we have an announcement to make. We will post the videos of the speakers and the entertainers on TEDxYouth Sundsvall's Facebook page next week, so you can watch them again with good sound. But now, another way of being creative is to dance, and that's what we will watch now. A TED Talk by Camille A. Brown, who explains why we even dance.
This is the bop. The bop is a type of social dance. Dance is a language, and social dance is an expression that emerges from a community. A social dance isn't choreographed by any one person. It can't be traced to any one moment. Each dance has steps that everyone can agree on, but it's about the individual and their creative identity. Because of that, social dances bubble up, they change, and they spread like wildfire. They are as old as our remembered history. In African American social dances, we see over 200 years of how African and African American traditions influenced our history. The present always contains the past, and the past shapes who we are and who we will be. The Juba dance was born from enslaved Africans' experience on the plantation. Brought to the Americas stripped of a common spoken language, this dance was a way for enslaved Africans to remember where they're from. It may have looked something like this. Slapping thighs, shuffling feet, and patting hands. This was how they got around the slave owner's ban on drumming. Improvising complex rhythms, just like ancestors did with drums in Haiti or in the Yoruba communities of West Africa. It was about keeping cultural traditions alive and retaining a sense of inner freedom under captivity. It was the same subversive spirit that created this dance. The cakewalk, a dance that parodied the mannerisms of Southern high society, a way for the enslaved to throw shade at the masters. The crazy thing about this dance is that the cakewalk was performed for the masters, who never suspected they were being made fun of. Now you might recognize this one. 1920s, the Charleston. The Charleston was all about improvisation and musicality, making its way into Lindy Hop, swing dancing, and even the Kid and Play, originally called the Funky Charleston. Started by a tight-knit black community near Charleston, South Carolina, the Charleston permeated dance halls where young women suddenly had the freedom to kick their heels and move their legs. Now, social dance is about community and connection. If you knew the steps, it meant you belonged to a group. But what if it becomes a worldwide craze? Enter the twist. It's no surprise that the twist can be traced back to the 19th century, brought to America from the Congo during slavery. But in the late 50s, right before the Civil Rights Movement, the twist is popularized by Chubby Checker and Dick Clark. Suddenly, everybody's doing the twist. White teenagers, kids in Latin America, making its way into songs and movies. Through social dance, the boundaries between groups become blurred. The story continues in the 1980s and 90s. Along with the emergence of hip-hop, African-American social dance took on even more visibility, borrowing from its long past, shaping culture and being shaped by it. Today, these dances continue to evolve, grow, and spread. Why do we dance? To move, to let loose, to express. Why do we dance together? To heal, to remember, to say, we speak a common language. We exist and we are free.
Thank you, Camille. That was very insightful. Now it's time to turn up the volume and enjoy this band, Altus. But first, Arcadia. Grab some refreshments and enjoy.
That was all wonderful, but now we need a coffee break. Making coffee the eccentric way. One bean at a time. Maybe that's too slow. Let's speed it up. The eccentric way.
Hello everyone, and thank you for watching TEDxYouth. We're Altus, one of the bands who are going to be playing for you tonight, and we'd like to perform a song now. Go! The spiders from Mars, he played it left hand, but made it too far. Became the special man, and we were Siggy's fan. Siggy really sang, screwed up eyes and screwed down hairdo, like some cat from Japan. He could lick him by smiling, he could leave him to hang. Came on so loaded, man. Well hung with snow white tan. So where were the spiders? While the flight rides break up all. Just the daylight to guide us. So we pitched about his plans, and should we crush his sweet hands? could he play guitar? Making love with his ego. Singing sucked up into his mind. Like a leper messiah. When the kids had killed the man, I had to break up the band. Oh yeah. And Siggy played guitar. I'd like to introduce our members. On the drums, we have Dexter. He's good. On bass, we have Emil. He's also good. On guitar and vocals, we have Simon. And then me on guitar and vocals, Anders. And this is our next song called Born to be Wild, released in 1969. Let's go. Get your motor running. Head out on the highway, looking for adventure. And whatever comes our way, yeah,
thank you, Altus. And an extra thank you to the band member Emil, who is also filming me right now. And now is the final part of the quiz, so devices folks, get ready, because this is the moment that will decide if you will win or if you will lose. So, are you ready? Because we're gonna start. But remember, your alias and write your email address at the end while we show the last sketch with Arcadia. Good luck.
Everything is about perspectives. For instance, how many holes do you see in this box? Maybe you say 1 or 2 There is one from each side. I know, a bit childish, but still, perspectives. So the big question is, how many holes do we have in this part? Perhaps you say 2 or 4, maybe 6 or even 8. The big question though is, how many holes does the match go through right now? I don't know, because it's all about perspectives. And I think the answer could be none.
Thank you, Arcadia. And now it's time to present our last speaker, who will, David, who will, with anthropological tools, explore why people choose to protest during a pandemic. And I've got David here. Welcome.
Thank you.
I've got some questions for you.
Yes.
What inspired you to write the speech that we're going to listen to soon?
So the main idea, or the fundamentals of my speech, stems from the idea of being heard and being believed. So when people get the chance to share their experience and people believe them, I feel like we grow as people. And the idea of my speech then becomes that through anthropology, we get tools in order to help communicate with each other. So whether that be with our partner or with friends or with family members, using anthropological tools, at least in this specific speech, aims to help people who aren't part of the Black community to understand why, despite running the risk of spreading the coronavirus, people still choose to protest during the pandemic.
Yeah. And you studied anthropology in the United States, but why did you do that?
So usually when we learn about culture, we learn it from reading about other people's experiences, and we learn it from watching TV or movies or hear it on the radio. Now, anthropology in its essence, I believe, comes from participating and being a part of other people's cultures. So rather than me staying in Sweden and learning about other people's culture, I choose to travel to different places around the world. And while I was living and working in Vietnam, I made friends that lives in California. And they encouraged me to come to the United States to study. And so in order to nurture our friendship and our relationships, I decided to quit my job here in Sundsvall and travel to California.
Great. Is there something you want to tell the audience before your speech?
I would like my audience to keep in mind that the talk that I've given it's not an argumentative speech. It's not a persuasive one either. It's an informative. So I want people to watch this talk and not feel that even though they disagree with what I have to say, that at least they listen to it with the intent to understand and how can these tools be applicable in their lives. Because one of the main messages that I want the people to take with them is to listen with the intent to understand, and not to listen to retaliate and make it about themselves, but rather listen and acknowledging the person that's in front of them.
Yeah. Thank you,
Thank
David.
you.
And now let's see the talk.
Hi everyone, my name is David Asplund. I graduated from the University of California, Riverside, and I'm a culture anthropologist. So what is anthropology then? Well, anthropology is a holistic discipline, meaning that we're trying to understand people from all sorts of perspectives. And mainly when we talk about anthropology, it's divided into 4 disciplines. You have culture anthropology, physical anthropology, you have archaeology, and you have linguistics. They are meant to help us understand people from the past and present. In anthropology, the idea is that we want to make the familiar strange and the strange familiar. And by that I mean that we want to take a normalized behavior or something that we have been, brought up with, and we want to question it so much that it becomes strange to us. And at the same time, we want to understand other people. So even though it seems strange, we listen to other people in order to understand, so the strange becomes the familiar. In this talk, I'll be speaking about why Black Lives Matter choose to protest despite during the pandemic. And I'm going to use an informative talk to do so. And I understand that, people that are protesting feels a deep sadness and pain and rage, and I feel with all of you. And I also understand why perhaps healthcare workers and people who are not a part of the demographic or a part of the Black community understands this, because they have their own struggles. They're fighting to keep people alive, especially if you are nurses and doctors. You're doing a phenomenal job, and I understand your pain as well. But this isn't about what I as an individual think, regardless of which, community that I come from. This is about understanding. It's about listening and giving the other person a platform where they feel that they can share with them what they're going through and be heard and listened. In anthropology, we talk about cultural relativism. And cultural relativism, what that is that it is a tool in which you let the person that you're listening to explain to you something that they're going through, or it might be how they eat in this particular community, or how they practice, how they live, without you telling them what's right and what's wrong from your own perspective. Opposite of that, you have ethnocentrism, which is the idea that there's a hierarchy to how to do things, where your, worldview, where your culture is objective, it's universal, everyone must do it. You are cultured and civilized, and all these other people are, stupid if they don't agree with you, or they are barbaric, or they're primitive. Moral relativism, lastly, is your own values, your own sort of beacon that you have been, given, that guides you through life, what decisions are right and what decisions are wrong. So what do we do then? You might think that, well, more people are suffering, not just Black folks. So why shouldn't we care about the Arab community or the Asian community? Well, the idea is that, you don't have to agree with one person or one community and not agree with the other. But the problem becomes when you use one community or one issue as a catalyst for another demographic. For example, let's say your partner, comes home after work and they've had an awful day. And the first thing they tell you is that I've had the worst day ever. I feel really bad. You don't turn to them and say, well, I've had a bad day too, so we need to talk about my bad day. Like, yes, your bad day matters, and it should. And I'm sorry that you had a bad day, but it's not the main issue. You shouldn't use your partner or your friend or your family or other people's issues as a catalyst. The problem that keeps happening is that we don't listen to understand. We listen to make it about ourselves, because somehow we have rationalized that our issues and our problems are somehow more important. Right now, my mom is combating a very critical cancer. And I'm not able to see her as much as I would like, which I'm sure many of you can relate to. And if you think that I wouldn't be devastated if she caught COVID because people are out protesting, you are wrong. But it's not about me. It's not about my mom. It's not about just my family. You can't use your own individual opinion as a holistic and objective truth. I can still be devastated, if my mom caught COVID, but I can still sympathize with people out protesting, because there are reasons why protests are happening. And getting educated on the subject matter is important. Reading up on Jim Crow, reading up on the prison industrial complex, reading up on how gerrymandering is preventing, minority communities from creating change in their communities. These are important topics that needs to be read upon and educated about so that you can understand when other people are sharing their struggle with you. And I'm not, like, again, I've said this and I will say it again, don't throw away your morale. Your morale and your values and your opinions are important, but they are not objective truth. And by listening to people and by educating yourself, I hope that will help you understand why people choose to do something, and why people choose to do something because they feel that they are rationalizing why it makes sense. So then, to summarize or to recap this talk, what can you do? These are real issues and they may be far away from your reality, but that doesn't mean that the people that have gone through it for generations till this day isn't suffering from it. And it's okay not to know. We're not expecting, I'm not expecting, I don't think anyone's expecting you to know everything. But I think that in order to understand each other and in order to acknowledge someone else's reality, I think it's important to, at least to the bare minimum, believe their stories. They are real. And it is, and it has been damaging and targeting Black folks, which is one of the main reasons why I think that despite the pandemic, protesting during it is still happening. So with that said, I would like to thank all of you for tuning in to my TEDx talk. My name is David Asplund, and thank you.
Thank you, David, for speaking at our event. We have donated a gift in your name to Amnesty International because human rights is for all of us. But now we have reached the end of our event, and before we open up our mingle rooms over at Zoom, I would like to say thank you. Thank you to all of our listeners out there. Thank you to our speakers and entertainers. Thank you for my amazing crew, and thank you to yours truly for being an amazing host. But now we will post the links in our to the mingle rooms at Zoom in our comment section, and I hope to see you all there. Until next time, take care and stay safe.